This is, unfortunately, the final episode of Gaming News Weekly. Before next Monday's brand new episode, we're not going anywhere, and we've got a list of the best gaming industry April Fool's Day announcements from last week.
And this is not an April Fool's joke, but Russia may be getting into the video game console world. We're going to talk about all this stuff and a whole bunch more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It is time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest things happening in the video game industry. You can find us on Fruit Lab, YouTube, and podcast services everywhere. My name is Erect the Red, joined every week by this man right here, full clip. What's the haps?
What's good? Been doing all right, finally nice weather, getting outside. It's yard sale season, so I did a few hours of that this morning.
Nice. Yeah, it's been snowing up until today in my neck of the woods.
Oh.
So, but today it's nice. The sun's out. We went for a walk. It was good. But yeah, yesterday and the day before, it's been snowing the first few days in April. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, just more time for gaming for you, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
Along with the weather, I haven't been doing so much gaming. I know every week I'm saying the same tired thing, but I've been playing a lot of Hell Let Loose with my buddy still, and
nice.
Just having a really good time with that. We've started playing it as like a tank crew a little bit more often, and we just have these awesome moments where I'm on gun, he's driving, we'll like peek our way out of this smoke down a road, and then suddenly there's like 10 enemies right in front of us. We blow them all into chunks.
That's awesome. Yeah, every time I look at gameplay of that or watch someone stream or something, it looks like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've accepted that it's my new Call of Duty.
Nice. Do you like it better, or is it just different?
It's different. Yeah, it's definitely not like a run and gun kind of game like Call of Duty. You'll just get killed over and over if you do that. Right. And sometimes it's frustrating. It's much slower paced, like Battlefield kind of, except for Battlefield 2072 or whatever that was.
Yeah. Nice. I'll check it out one of these years. I do feel like I'll get frustrated with it though. Like I'm just I don't like when I run, like I spend so much time and like I finally see an enemy and then I just die immediately. Yeah. That happens to me quite often in some of those Battlefield games or whatever. I'm like, all right, I'm finally to the front lines or whatever. I'm like making headway and then like I get headshot and I'm dead.
Yeah, and there can be a lot of that in this game. You just kind of have to slow down, use a little more strategy, like stick close. You pretend like you're a real person in this scenario. You wouldn't just run out in front down a street where people could be hiding around the corners and stuff like that.
Right. Nice. Very cool. I've been like glued to my Steam Deck this week. I've just been just constantly playing it. I've been getting a bunch of new, like just a lot of like indie games too, which is, I'm finding out like they're my favorite. Like, so I got Dragon's Dogma 2 and I'm enjoying playing that, but more often than not, like this week especially, I've just been, instead of like grabbing the PlayStation controller, I'm grabbing the Steam Deck and I'm playing through some of these like indie games that I got. I got a couple new ones. Aquarist, maybe. It's like it's from our friends over at Free Mind SA and Playway. But this one, it's like a you're just building fish tanks, aquariums, and stuff like that. And I got it initially. I was like, I got a review copy, and I thought I would get it because my son loves fish. He's had a few and loves his little aquarium and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'll have him play with me. It's a little too janky for him to be playing, like all these games are,
Yeah, the simulator genre in general.
Yeah. So he was getting frustrated, like trying to just do the most simple tasks. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but no, like having been through that with all these other games, it's like, it's not terrible. It is definitely one of the more janky from this genre, from this company, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. Like, so you gotta basically you're going through. You start small, and then you got to you get clients, and they want this fish tank with this fish, and then you charge them, and you earn money, and like you do quests, and you just keep building up, and pretty soon you've got these huge fish tanks, and then you could go find like octopuses and like all this like more intense stuff. So it keeps growing. I haven't gotten there yet, but from everything I've seen, it can get pretty on a much grander scale. So that's been fun. That's my new I feel like every month I have one of these simulation games like that I've been playing. And then I went back to House Flipper because they had like an update. It was like the floor is lava update or whatever.
Yeah.
And I played. So it's like there's like you're cleaning a house for like a VR company, and there's like just a VR headset you could put on, and then it becomes like a first person like platforming game. Where,
Yeah,
like,
basically an obstacle course at that point.
right. Yeah. It was all right. It held my attention for a couple minutes, but it wasn't like that's not their bread and butter, making these games where you have to fine tune your jumping onto like this other piece of furniture. But then another game that I got recently, it's a new Vampire Survivors like clone. It's called Scarlet Tower. This one just came out of early access as well. That the Aquarist that was in early access too. That came out of early access on March 29th. This one came out March 25th, and it is. You ever play the Vampire Survivors or any of those type of games, like the Bullet Hell type games? They're fun, man. They're real addicting, and this one is very good. There's a ton of them. There's a new one every week, it seems. And this one I'm really enjoying. I think it's a little bit more simple, but because there's a ton of like. So basically, you go through, you kill all these things that are coming at you. You level up, you buy stuff, and you try to work on what has the best combinations. What synchronizes best with the other equipment that you get, and then you go and you just run around and you kill stuff, and it just becomes like this bullet hell type game. And this one has a ton of items, ton of characters. It just has more. I don't know if they just went with the whole more is better type idea, and they're like just give it all to them. So like in that respect, it's very good because it's like there's always new stuff. I have no idea what any of it does. I'm just like clicking on stuff. I'm like, that sounds cool. Let's do that. And then I don't know if I'm seeing it back in the gameplay, if it's like any better or any less. But I'm having fun. It's fun to run around with, different characters do different things and that sort of thing. But it's a good, Vampire Survivors style game. And it's only like $5. So I recommend anybody that's a fan of the Vampire Survivors game, check this one out because it does have a ton of content to play. So you should try you should try Vampire Survivors. I think it's like regularly on sale for like $2 or whatever, and it's just such a simple game. Yeah. You just walk around with a little guy and most of the time like the stuff as you're like upgrading stuff, you don't even need to click anything. You just got to move around because like everything's going on its own, and it's fun.
Yeah, one of these days I'll have to get around to it. One game that I am going to try to check out, I told you how I kind of accidentally got Humble Bundle last month. Ended up getting a Saints Row key, the new Saints Row. I've played maybe like 5 minutes of Saints Row 2 or something back in the day. Seemed like a GTA ripoff, not really going to hold my interest. So I'm hoping to see if this one has been updated into a playable game, because I remember controversy when it very first came out. But that'll probably be the next video that I make, is experiencing Saints Row for the first time.
All right. I look forward to it. I want to see what this is all about. All right. Well, let's get this show on the road. Let's kick it off with our new releases from last week. All right. Now, initially, I was just going to say, like, screw it. Like, there's really nothing to talk about for new releases, because there wasn't. There's some indie games that I'm hoping to get and maybe bring up next week. Like there's a Metroidvania game called Biomorph that looks cool, and then another like shmup Metroidvania game called Mini Shoot Adventures. Both came out this week, but like these are just we can't talk about all the indie games that come out because there's hundreds of them. But this one did kind of it drew my gaze to it. Freedom Planet 2 came out on April 4th on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, XS, Nintendo Switch. Now, this came out in 2022 on PC. And the reason I brought it up is that it has an overwhelmingly positive review on Steam. And this new version, or the console version, I should say, has 82 on Metacritic. So it's getting great reviews. And what it is, it's like a platformer. I guess how it started. This is the sequel to a game that came out in 2014 called Freedom Planet. And what that game was, it's a Sonic, like a fan-made like Sonic game, basically, with like different characters. And that's what this number 2 is, but now it's just like, it's really like they touched it up, everything's done well, they really just added a lot more to it. So now there's 4 characters, each one has different abilities, but it's still like that side scrolling, like, speed is key run type thing. So it was interesting, and I was surprised. I've never ever heard of it. Now, you and I aren't the biggest Sonic fans, but yeah, when I saw like the reviews and how beloved this game was, I was like, all right, we got to chat about it at least. But,
yeah. Now, when I watched the trailer, like, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't realize it was a follow-up to a fan-made Sonic game. But now that you say that, thinking back to the trailer, I definitely see it in the level design a little bit.
Right.
I never would have made that connection otherwise, other than, like, it's slightly similar. It's definitely not a Sonic ripoff. I never got that kind of feeling from it.
Exactly.
The artwork in this looks really interesting because it is that retro pixelated design.
Yeah, it's a cool idea, and it seems to be pretty popular. So check it out, Freedom Planet 2, out now on console. All right, and that's it. That's it for our new releases from this week. Let's get into it with our news of the week. All right, let's kick things off with our subscription game roundup thing that we do here. We got a couple new announcements to the subscription services. First up, the Humble Bundle Choice came out this week. I know you just said you're looking at the games from last month, but now, either cancel that or you're going to get a few new games, and they will be Victoria 3, The Callisto Protocol, Humankind Definitive Edition, Fashion Police Squad, Terraformers, Symphony of War, The Nephilim Saga, Koromon, and The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow. Now, I get so this is the games come out the first Tuesday of every month, and the days prior to that, I get excited. I go look for leaks. There's always leaks that come out of what games we can expect. And this month, someone had a page showing all the games coming out, and it was none of these games, and it was the most amazing Humble Bundle lineup ever. I'm
wow.
Oh my god, this is going to be amazing. And then this was announced officially, and people were like, was it an April Fool's joke? Was it to test? Because there's always leaks. They're like, are they trying to patch the holes and see where the leaks are coming from? But needless to say, I was very, very disappointed in this selection after, seeing what was initially offered. But I got it anyways, and I've been trading the games. There's a lot of good value in this month's one. None of the games I'm into, though. There's a lot of strategy games and simulation games, like the Terraformers. You got to simulate Mars. It's like a management game. One game I have played and I do enjoy is Fashion Police Squad. It's like a silly first-person shooter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember when we got the copies of that, but I didn't end up reviewing it.
Oh, yeah. It's fun, man. And then Koromon is like a Pokemon clone. So, yeah, nothing that really did it for me. The Callisto Protocol was the big one, but even that, terrible reviews. Everybody says it's just a real shitty game. So I traded them all away, and I got some games that I've been wanting for a while. So it works out for me. Either, I'm paying I think it's $12 if you want it right off the bat. But I got this dope-looking deck builder that doesn't go below. I've never seen it cheaper than $10. It's called the Vault of the Void or whatever. And I got this other game called Void Bastards. A lot of Void games I'm realizing now. But yeah, so regardless of if this is your cup of tea, there's value in these humble choice games, and yeah. So, or make sure you go cancel it
Yeah.
because they'll charge you for it. All right, and then we also got the April announcement for Game Pass. Some real exciting games here. They are Lego 2K Drive, came out April 3rd. Lil Gator Game came out April 4th. EA Sports PGA Tour came out April 4th. Kona comes out April 9th. Botany Manor comes out. It's a day one game. That's out on April 9th. Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition comes to Game Pass April 11th. And then Harold Halibut, also another day one game on April 16th. So both of those new games I'm excited for. I played the demo for Harold Halibut. It's fully, rendered in stop motion animation. I think we talked about
Looks
that
like
one a little bit.
claymation.
Yeah. So that one is really cool. You live on like this underwater city in some sort of retro future world. And then Botany Manor. I'm already excited. My wife's super into like plants and that sort of thing. I'm already excited to show her this game. It's like a puzzle game about plants. I don't know exactly what, but yeah. And then Tomb Raider and what else? So some good stuff. Golf. There's golf. I know Lil Gator Game's supposed to be a great game. It's a good lineup here for Game Pass.
Yeah, not bad.
Remember last week we gave a rating for the PlayStation. What's a rating for this one out of 10?
What was our rating? I think I did like a 4.5 last week.
You gave it a 4.5.
You were a little higher on the scale.
I think I was like at a 6. This one I'm giving an 8.
Yeah, I think it's going to be up there. Maybe I'm a little less, maybe like a 7.5. Don't know. I always have to be such a downer. But Harold Halibut, I'd love to try that because that's the game, the first game in a long time that I've seen where I'm like, how did they do that? I'm wondering, how did they get the stop motion style? If it really is like, are these clay puppets or are they 3D renderings that look like clay? I'm not sure, but I'd like to see like a behind the scenes of it too.
Yeah, I think I don't remember exactly what it was, but I don't. So the demo, when I downloaded the demo, it was like 60 gigs or something. It was something like insane. It was like a huge file. But yeah, that's the one that's putting it over the top for me. But also, I think the previous games are great too. Like the Lego Drive, that's a fun game. It's not as good as I expect. Like I played it a little bit on PlayStation Plus. Not as good as I had hoped it would be. It's still a good arcade racer. And then then you got golf, and Kona is a good like I don't know what it is. It's a platformer, I think, or something. So yeah, a little bit of something for everybody. And Harold Halibut, day one. All right, June 15th. Now this is the date that Vladimir Putin, Russian president, wants a Russian-produced video game console. He's sick and tired of not having a good game to play. So he's like, let's just make our own. This was reported by the Russian newspaper Kommersant. And what do you think of this?
Well, I had to go and check the dates on the articles that I was looking up. I had to go and laterally search for other articles to make sure this was real. I swear that this was going to be an April Fool's joke. But as far as I can tell, it's for real. Very strange. And what I was reading is that they would be 10 years off from being able to create something on that scale.
Yeah. And even more than that, I read it could be even further because they can't. Basically, this is all because of when they invaded Ukraine in 2022. None of the games industry, none of the manufacturers didn't want anything to do with them. So they cut off all relations with Russia, and now Russia's like, okay, well, we need something because they're still importing these things, and it's a whole thing trying to get games and that sort of thing. So he's like, all right, we need something. But the manufacturer of the parts, they also cut ties with Russia. So where are you going to get parts from this? I know they're close with China, and I think most of everything would come from China. But even then, we've seen all the gaming consoles handheld gaming consoles, all those, all those kind of knockoffs that come from China,
Hmm.
there's no way they could do something on par with any of the current consoles that are on the market. Not a single one of them. So,
Right. I think their best bet would be to go for like some sort of slimmed down gaming PC or something like that
right.
that just runs a console like software.
Yeah. Or put out one of those. I mean, we're seeing regularly those new handheld PC gaming, setups where it seems to be a little bit easier to manufacture, somewhat lower quality versions of those. Maybe, pop one of those out there or something. But at the same time, they're not going to have any games. They're also going to then have to manufacture games to play on their consoles, or or get them. I'm sure they'll get some from maybe China or whatever other companies they work with.
And
but
there are plenty of devs in Russia. We saw that they were also affected by the now I'm forgetting the word, but like the sanctions maybe imposed on Russia after the invasion of Ukraine. So I mean, will it be worth their time to develop for the strange new Russian gaming console?
Yeah. I mean, they'd have to create an operating system. They'd have to like everything from scratch. But yeah, Vladimir, he wants it by June 15th. He wants it not completed, but he wants the blueprints, the ideas like ready to manufacture by that date. And doesn't seem like it's entirely possible. But, who knows? Who knows? Prove me wrong, Russia.
This could be a new revolution in gaming. You never know.
It could be. It could be. All right. So that was not an April Fool's joke. But as usual, the industry did not disappoint. Ton of, but if you were on the internet that day, you had to be very skeptical about what you were looking at, what you were talking about, because there were a lot of good ones out there. And that brings us to this week's top 5 of the week. Top 5. It's a top 5. Top 5. All right, so this week we took a look at the newest April Fool's jokes that the video game industry played on us, because there were a lot of them. There were a bunch of them, and it was great. Like, you found a nice list. It was from like some subreddit, video game subreddit or something, that compiled a list with videos, like everything that came out about like all of them. So we had a nice list of information to choose from. So here we go. Number 5, the Razer Cthulhu gaming chair. So now this was just a regular gaming chair, but instead it's got 8 AI tentacles that could like feed you while you're playing your game and like shave you. Looked pretty cool. I kind of want one.
I'm down for it. Become Doc Ock while you're gaming.
That was basically it. It did have a kind of a evil turn towards the end, but I think it would still be worth it. If something could feed me like chips while I'm playing a game.
What else can it do?
Exactly. How much would you pay for a Razer Cthulhu chair?
Ooh, upwards of $4,000.
Whoa, I was thinking like 40, 50 bucks, but yeah, that's that probably makes more sense. All right, number 4, we saw the Pokemon Sleep World Champions Tournament. So now everybody's aware of Pokemon Sleep. This is, the thing you play your Pokemon while you're sleeping. It's
something like that.
It's a real thing. That's not the April Fool's joke. But this one is the tournament, because like this one was like, okay, we see how quickly it was like, so it was a YouTube video, and there's like this big event, how quickly people could fall asleep, their sleeping techniques and like all this stuff. And it was a funny video, very, very tongue in cheek. Like the announcer's last name was Pillow, and the other guy was like, I don't know, Sleepy Man or something. But it was silly. And but the takeaway is Pokemon Sleep is a real thing. Number 3, CD Projekt Red announced the floppy disk edition of Cyberpunk, available on 97,619 diskettes. This one, for our younger audience, there used to be like a tiny square thing that you would have to insert into your computer. And and that had part of a game on there.
Yeah, it looks like the save icon in the programs today.
Yes, very true. And yeah, so if you were playing a big game, you would have to keep like loading it with these different discs. Like you would just pop one out, load the next part, pop one out, and load the next part. And it was like this one. So this one's 97,000. In the article, they said like it would take you 2 months of constantly swapping discs to load the full game. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, the website was great. It even had like a link, and I was like, let me see. And I clicked it, and they were like, you dummy, this is April Fool's. But it was great. All right, number 2. It's a couple. I'm going to include both of these here because they're both Pale World related. The first one I loved and I wanted. I actually, initially when I saw this, I forgot it was April Fool's, and I saved it for something to talk about on the show here. And it was a dating sim called More Than Just Pals. And I would absolutely play it. It had like, humanized versions of like the Pale World creatures, and that you had to like, have conversations and date them or whatever.
Yeah, so. This one was done well as far as like the whole trailer they give you. I thought the artwork and stuff was interesting.
It looked like I don't know. It looked like so many of those that are out there. They did a great job of turning it into one of those dating sim games because I thought it was real. And then Gamerant came out with an article talking about Pale World Go, and just basically described it separate from Pokemon Go, but just the entirety of it was like like Pokemon Go didn't exist and Pale World Go was the only thing because it was just like it had all the features, but they were talking about it like it was a new thing.
Yeah,
and like this
awesome
was coming.
New original idea.
Yeah, available on iOS and Android stuff, and yeah, that's again a joke about the similarities between Pokemon and Pale World. Don't add us. This was not our thing. But I thought that was great. It was a huge article too. They just kept doubling down. They're just like, all right, we're doing it.
Only available in 3 territories. One of those is New Jersey,
yes,
of course.
And exactly. And Yarnum was the other one, the Elden Ring world. And then number 1, my favorite this year, the Virtual Boy Pro, which was basically the way they did it was just a Nintendo Switch that like strapped to your face was all it was. But it was funny too because then when they show the gameplay, it was more of just like an AR like headset, which I was a little disappointed. So again, for the youngsters out there used to be a thing called a Virtual Boy, and it was a tabletop device, and you stuck your face in it, and everything was just red. It was just red pixels. Do you ever play the Virtual Boy?
I think so. Like once, very, very long time ago.
I remember I rented it from like one of our local like video game rental places, and it had like this whole case and everything. And like you were warned not to play it for longer than like a half hour because like it messes with your vision. You come out and everything that you look at is like bright red. So I was a little disappointed that this one didn't have a throwback to that red world. But what was pretty cool was like it was all kind of fused into your real world. From like everything you're doing, moving furniture in your house is like an Animal Crossing thing. I thought the Luigi's Mansion, it was just the woman vacuuming, which I thought was funny. And then there was like the driving where she's in the car,
Mario
in the real
Kart
world,
open road,
driving with the Switch strapped to her face. But that was a very well-made video. I thought that was very funny. I chuckled a little bit watching that. So
yeah, that's the point where it comes off the rails. But up until that, this is one of those April Fool's jokes where it's like so close to being a really good idea that I think they should just do something like that.
It was so cool. When I was looking at like some of the stuff that they were doing in AR, I was like, yeah, this is like, do it. Like it doesn't, I mean, obviously not like thing you put on your face or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't have to be, but like
Mario across your shelf and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
It was cool, and they've done stuff with that before, like with the, those little remote control racing cars that they have.
Yeah,
it's an AR world where like there's stuff throughout. I was like, yeah, this is definitely something that I could see Nintendo doing because they're always like on the cutting edge of weird, and yeah, it was fun. So yeah, this was a great April Fool's for the video game industry, which always, to me, I feel like they always do it way more than any other industry. Movies, television, comics, like anything. Video games are always like, there's always great April Fool's things come out. All right, next up, We can't have a gaming news weekly without a little news from Embracer. So last week we talked about them selling Gearbox. The week prior they sold Saber Interactive, and now there was an investor call recently, and CEO Lars Wingfors. I don't know how you pronounce it. It might be Winge, might be Wing. It might be, I don't know, could be anything. But he had a lot to talk about the restructuring process, basically saying that it is done. Their whole plan, the whole restructuring bit is done. A couple quotes from him. It says, we are ending the restructuring program now, end of March, and the Gearbox restructuring process has been part of that program. Now we are getting approached, I would say not quite daily, but on a weekly basis by companies that would like to acquire certain assets within the group. And I've been very clear that they are not for sale because they're a very important part for the group and for the shareholders of the group going forward. So we can't get anything. I know we talked about buying some cool stuff from Embracer, but it looks like they're locking it down, keeping it all for themselves. And then someone asked about, getting back to the mergers and acquisitions, which they had done for so long prior to this. And Lars said, looking to do more mergers and acquisition deals. I think it's way too early to start talking about restarting the M&A engines again. Now we are in the late phases of the consideration into the future of the group, and that's our highest focus and priority, how we set up ourselves and structure ourselves and utilize our assets we have within the group and have them work together, and how we leverage them better working together, utilizing different functions. I think that's our focus right now, to increase profitability and cash flow generation by simply making better products and games. So, that's the plan. Hopefully it works out for them.
With any luck, maybe we'll get acquired in the future, and then we can buy ourselves back from them for cheaper than they paid.
Dude, this is why we pay you the big bucks here at Gaming News Weekly. Smart. Real smart. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to write a note. Dear Lars, we are for sale. Cheap.
Dear Lars, how do you say your last name?
Yeah. Also, buy us, baby. All right. And then last up, we got a couple new game announcements. First one being a game called Decadent. Now we got a little bit of a teaser trailer. It was a full CGI teaser trailer, but this game, it got me really excited. I'm going to read the little summary here. It says, Decadent is a story-driven exploration first-person shooter developed by Incantation Games. Players will step into the role of World War I veteran John Lorne as he embarks on a quest to save his son. Through uncovering an ancient secret, John will be tested in combat alongside the nature of his own humanity and mortality, venture into lightless forests, frozen tundras, hostile cliffs, and more, while unlocking new equipment such as 1920s firearms to alien bioweapons. Decadent is launching in 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. What'd you think of this trailer?
Pretty interesting. I had to read into it to figure out what was going on with the whole alien technology, and then I'm wondering, are these aliens in the woods, or are they like some sort of demonic thing?
Yeah,
it looks more like ritualistic.
Yes. Yeah, very Lovecraftian, occult kind of feel to it. But yeah, it was cool. I was excited. I know you got excited for he's a World War I. It's set in the 20s, I know that's your thing. So
yeah, and so you have everything from World War I weapons to alien weapons that you're going to be picking up. It sounded like dude was a little cavalier with his shotgun shots toward his buddies there on the ritual sites, but
you got to do what you got to do when you're fighting weird alien creatures. But I went on the Steam page, and there are screenshots, and it looks decent. Like it looks, it looks like it's gonna be good. Basically, what you would expect from a first-person shooter, what the screenshots show. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks like a good idea. It looks kind of creepy, and yeah, I'm here for it. And then the next one, even more so exciting, the Crush House. This one is being described as a third-person shooter. I've seen it described more than once, and I hate saying that. But basically, it's so IGN has this whole. They had a demo, and they have this whole preview article. So I read it, and I got a bit of an idea. But it's kind of like very Sims-ish in the trailer that I watched, where you have these these characters, and you put them in this world, and they just kind of do their own thing. But the premise for this is that it's a reality show. So now there's 12 characters you can choose from. You pick 4 to go in this house, and then you have to win over the audience. And some point, there's different people watching it. Some point there's landscapers watching it, and they want to see more about plants and stuff. So the way you have to showcase the plants, or there's like foodies that want to see more about food, or moms that want to like just check out himbos. So there's like, it's like basically like a puzzle game, but it's got this reality show, background to it. And from everything they said in this preview is that the algorithm that they created to keep like, the interactions between all the characters, there's all these different possible things that could happen throughout. And it sounds really interesting. And then you got to like put ads into the show. And then if the ads are in good places or enough people watch them, you earn money to then put back into the house to like spice things up. I don't know, but
It's interesting.
I'm very interested. I like it. It's definitely outside the box from what we've seen. I've never really been huge into like Sims style games, but I do like a good cheesy reality show. So
Yeah, and I kind of wonder how much control do you actually have, because you're playing the part of the cameraman, it looks like, in part of this. That's where your shooter comes in. You're shooting footage, not guns. First person shooter. It's a weird thing. But I'm wondering, like, in real life on these reality shows, you always hear about the producers are like, they'll start a rumor, or they'll tell this person that the other person said that about them to get like the drama up and the tension up, and then hopefully film some gold. So I wonder if you're going to have a little bit of input there, like interacting with the subjects.
Right. Yeah. There's got to be a way that you can, up the, whatever the drama is in the house. And I think they did mention something like that in the preview. I didn't read all of it. I was like, all right, I think I got the gist. That's where I left it off. But I'm excited to see. That's one. Right now, I think it's just for PC, coming sometime in the near future. But yeah, we'll have more on the Crush House, because that one, top of the list right there, baby. It's Crush House. It looks very Sims-ish too, like graphically and stuff. A little, we not very realistically looking people. But yeah, we'll have more. We'll report back. All right. And that's it. That's all we got here at Gaming News Weekly. Anything else that you want to chat about?
No, that's it.
All right. That was fun. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly. You can find us every week on YouTube, website where you can watch videos. I don't know if you're familiar with YouTube, but yeah, you go there, you watch videos. It's real cool. We're at Pop Culture Playground. Just type that into YouTube. You'll come upon this show. You hit subscribe, watch us doing our thing. You can watch the video for the Crush House. It's cool. It's all cool. Or if audio is your thing, podcasts, we're everywhere. Just type in GNW anywhere you get a podcast, except for, I think, which one just ended? Google Podcasts. I think they're done now. So, maybe move to like one of the other ones, Spotify or Amazon or Apple Music Podcasts. I don't know. There's a million of them. And we're on all of them. So just type in GNW, hit subscribe, and you could listen to this show. And then definitely check out Full Clip over on YouTube as well. GameFAQs, GameFAX. Hopefully soon you'll be seeing him play some Saints Row, blowing stuff up or something, whatever you do in that game. And if he doesn't cancel his humble bundle, you'll be watching him play Terraformers or Fashion Police Squad soon too. And check us out on TikTok. Well, while it's still illegal in this country, TikTok is cool, and that's where we post a lot of clips daily, conversations happening about everything that we're talking about. So it's a good place to be. And that's all I got. Let's get out of here. Let's go enjoy this nice day. And we'll see you guys next week with more Gaming News Weekly.